Hey, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Force 5. I'm Ken Plume, and on this show, if you haven't seen it before, I have guests on who we'll talk about their 5 favorite Star Wars figures from any era, any scale, anything. But we're going to talk about them. It's their choice. They had to make a very difficult decision as to what their top 5 would be and how they're going to rank them. And ranking them today for us is Alex Damon from Star Wars Explained. You can hear the applause. I can hear the applause.
I can feel it.
There's so much applause, reverberations right now through the internet. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun to kind of break out the old collection, look through everything. I did kind of like a Marie Kondo, pick up a figure and like how much joy does this spark trying to figure out which of my action figures would be my top 5. It was difficult.
Now, you're a younger generation than I am, so I would have been classic Kenner, but you would have gotten into Star Wars in the 90s, which was sort of perfect timing for it to all come back.
Yeah, totally agree. I've said many times I feel like I just lucked out in when I got into Star Wars, when I was born. It just felt like the right age to be a Star Wars fan of all eras, because the original trilogy was already out. The prequels were on the way. We got the special editions like 2 years after I really started to get into Star Wars. I was young enough that I didn't question anything about the prequels. Like, I didn't have any criticisms. I remember that was like the first time I read reviews in a paper and was like, well, what do these people know?
Why does totally Wizard?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah, I was definitely getting into Star Wars when Power of the Force, I think, had just kind of started.
Because I remember 95.
Yeah, I remember when like the next wave came out and there were new figures to collect. I think I had just finished getting all of them and was like, well, now I have to go get these new ones.
That was it a family thing? Were your parents interested in Star Wars and they sort of introduced you to it, or you just stumbled upon it?
Yeah, my parents both introduced me to Star Wars, and then were both very helpful and supportive in my desire to collect action figures. They drove me around to a lot of Walmarts, a lot of Toys R Us's, Targets, whatever. I think Kmart was still a thing back then.
So you were a completionist.
Yes, especially at the start, because there weren't that many. I don't remember how many were in the original Power of the Force line, but I still remember which ones were difficult to find. And I remember that feeling.
You remember the hunt.
Yeah. And the feeling of when you would find one that you'd been missing for so long.
As you rifle through the sides, trying to not take down all of them.
Yeah.
To find out what was there. So do you remember what the first one was that you picked up off the shelf?
Yes. That's also the first one I was going to talk about.
Okay.
So I didn't
So this is a good transition then.
Okay.
So this is number 5 on your list. We're going 5 to 1. So your number 1 is going to be the one you love the most. You have to rank these.
I have to do that.
So if it's not, we can wait on that.
Let's wait on that.
Okay.
Let's wait on that.
So then the good thing about collecting, and also the really thing where they certainly drove that desire to collect them all and encouraged it on Star Wars figures, was you would have that picture on the back of the card showing all the figures that you had and did not have.
Yep.
And had to find. Do you remember the first vehicle that you got? Because they would have re-released the X-Wing around that time as well.
I think it was the Land Speeder. That feels right. I did consider including vehicles in this. I don't know if that's a
honorable mentions. You can certainly at the end, because you're a big Pilots of Star Wars guy.
Yeah. Well, I think the Land Speeder was the first one I got, and I remember coming home from school one day. I think it was my birthday, and opening the door. I just got off the bus, and like the Millennium Falcon was just sitting there right in the doorway, and I freaked out because that was
got
the
up
big
after
one.
Stumbling over it.
Yeah. that was the big one, the big vehicle. So I was really psyched to get that. It had the play set inside and everything.
Oh, you got the training ball. You could hope not to lose on that arm that was entirely breakable.
I'm pretty sure I lost that. I don't even remember that.
Everyone did. Everyone lost that. So let's start with your number 5 then. So now you have to rank it. You're looking at these now and having to make judgment calls.
I'm gonna go with, because this was the last one I made a decision on, so this feels right. I'm gonna go Grand Admiral Thrawn. I believe he was a 1998 addition to the line. And that was, again, just kind of like perfect timing for me, where I, in 1996, read Shadows of the Empire because the game was coming out. And I did consider Dash Rindar for this list because that was a whole extra, oh my gosh, these are from the books and the comic and the game. So that was neat. But I really liked the Thrawn trilogy, and they did a line of EU characters. So Grand Admiral Thrawn, Mara Jade, Luke from Dark Empire, the Dark Empire Sentinel, young Palpatine. So I really enjoyed getting into all of those. But Thrawn is someone that I have always liked. He has little salamiri that comes with him.
It's like a neck
And
warmer. Is that for when
yeah,
he's
yeah.
flying? Is that for comfort? Is that so he can
It's
sleep on
definitely
the
for
Star
comfort.
Destroyer?
Yeah, it's a neck pillow, and
He has a high back chair, right? Isn't he a high back command chair?
it's a neck warmer, a neck pillow, and it keeps him safe from the Force. So I
Yeah, the
like that.
force
But
on that nerve in his neck.
yeah, and I still have, like, I got the Grand Admiral Thrawn Black series when it came out because I was just so psyched again to see Thrawn as a toy. It's one of those things that you just would be surprised.
Well, he's only gotten what, 3 releases? Because he also got a release in the Rebels line, the
Uh,
animated version.
I believe he had another one where he had the Salamiri on his neck. I don't have that one. But well, this might be the Rebels line. I think it.
Is it the end? Does he have the elongated animated style head?
No. Oh, okay. So he has, this one's a more realistic. But I
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not the.
So maybe there were 4 versions of him.
Okay.
But yeah. So now you need to find the Rebels animated version. Well,
I do have quite a few Rebels figures as well.
It's unique that Power of the Force 2 line technically launched with Expanded Universe with the Shadows of the Empire figures. That was part of the first release of those figures, and sort of the launch of Star Wars back into public consciousness in a bigger way than books, which is still rather niche for getting the mainstream public.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I loved about Shadows of the Empire, is that they treated it as if it were a major release. That it's everything except for the movie.
Yeah.
It's the tie-in video game. It's the book and the comic. We're doing action figures. There's a soundtrack. Yeah, exactly. Like, I really wish they would do soundtracks for like the High Republic or something. I think that'd be really cool.
Does it surprise you how few characters from Shadows of the Empire have made their way back into canon?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it does, because Shadows of the Empire was such a big thing at Lucasfilm. I am surprised that it didn't also make the jump, like, just from the get-go. If you would have told me they were going to make Legends a thing, I would have been like, but Shadows of the Empire is still there.
Like, it's weird that they seem to be dancing around like Shizor coming back.
Yeah,
like it's like everyone but
uh-huh
is fascinating to me, that they would like, well, just do it, just say his name.
Yeah, and even if it sounds like, we're not going to get beat for beat Shadows of the Empire, and that's okay, but it did surprise me that they put so much work into this. It wasn't like the other books or comics where it was kind of like an author just playing in the sandbox. This was a big Lucasfilm effort. So to me, I thought it deserved to stay.
So, well, you're keeping the flame alive for it and for Thrawn, but you finally got, at least Thrawn made the transition, and then obviously going to come in a big way next year in Ahsoka.
The Thrawn stuff is, again, I've said this before, one of my favorite just fan moments was the 2016 Star Wars Celebration, when they revealed Thrawn would be the main villain of Star Wars Rebels Season 3. Like, I was watching it streamed from London, and I just couldn't hear the rest of the trailer over people screaming. I love that memory, and I love, like, I jumped out of my chair and like ran down the hall. I couldn't believe we were getting thrown back. So
Well, it
I'm
certainly seemed
psyched.
like another one of those expanded universe things. Like it seems like George was intent on like, well, you're never going to have that. I'm not going to give that to you.
Yeah.
No, you want it too badly. And we know what we say about wanting and needing and
Uh-huh.
you're desiring. Don't do that. Attachments are bad. So what is your number two then?
This will be my number 4, right?
Number four. So your second choice, but you're fourth on the list.
Yeah. Um,
And is the ranking difficult for you?
yeah. I'm gonna go. I think even though this one was probably the second one that I pulled out that I knew would be in this list, I think I'm gonna surprise a lot of people, including you. I'm gonna go. I showed a lot of restraint, and I only picked one Biggs Darklighter action figure, but I'm gonna put Biggs at number 4.
Oh,
Biggs in the cape. I love this look. It's another kind of, why did they make a figure of this? I'm so glad they did, but it's from a deleted scene. I think it's from a 30th anniversary line, so this figure's over 10 years old now. But yeah, it just looks so good. I love the cape look.
but that entire line at that 30th anniversary was full of deleted scenes and the McCory concept stuff.
Mhm, mhm.
Uh, so have you ever cosplayed that look?
No, I'm not a big cosplayer, but that's one that I think I would enjoy.
But that's
And it
like
doesn't
almost the
look,
casual look,
yeah, just casual Biggs.
casual and cape.
Uh-huh.
The cape is the only thing that sets it off as well. That's maybe not in all places
One of these
cosplay.
days, yeah, one of these days I'll do a Biggs cosplay, because
Walking
I
around as
would
an
also,
X-wing pilot is a little dicier as far as everyday. You can't go to Sam's or
yeah.
Costco in your X-wing
But I have always
uniform.
wanted to join Rebel Legion, and I could do that with the cape look or the flight suit look. I'd like a flight suit at some point, so I need to just pull the trigger. I can start
It
growing the
really
mustache
shocks me that
and
you.
building the costume at the same time. And by the time I'm done with the costume, I'll have the mustache ready.
Well, you can ask Paul Sun Young Lee, our mutual friend. You can ask him for tips on building out
Yeah,
your X-wing outfit.
and maybe he could steal Biggs's helmet for me. He
Yeah,
knows where it is. He's held it in his hands.
yeah, yeah. Well, he knows. You know what? He probably swapped them out. That's
Yeah,
the thing he didn't tell you.
yeah, I hope so.
In that case behind him on his unboxing videos, look carefully and you'll see he actually took the real Biggs
Yeah, he
out.
just put a bag of sand inside that box.
Yes. Well, I put a Easter egg Biggs, if you can
I
see.
see. I was going to point that out. I right underneath Grogu. Yeah,
Could you tell it was him from a
yeah,
distance?
yeah. Because it might be the 30th anniversary line, or it.
I
I
think it's
have so
earlier than that.
many.
I think
I
if
have
it's the
so
30th
many.
anniversary, this one's a little bit darker or a stronger orange.
Uh-huh. So is that the Black Series one?
I think this is the maybe prior to the Black Series. I don't know.
I
They
I,
get confusing as
I
far
know
as
that I have a 30th anniversary Biggs in the flight
which came
suit.
out the same time as the caped one.
Yes, that they were together, and then I also have a Black Series, like 3.25 inch or whatever, 3 3/4 inch, which they looked very, very similar. So
I mean, the only problem is they've never done a 6 scale
I know they
version
have,
for you.
Wedge
But
gets all the love.
here, I did
It's
this.
so
I did
not
this for
fair.
you. So I did a 6 scale, the best I could do for you.
It's pretty good. The
I think
mustache could be darker, I think.
I think it works on him though.
A little texture
Yeah.
on the
Well,
on
I
the
mean, it
mustache.
is just a post-it note that's colored with a Sharpie, but as far as customizations, I think I'm in the top tier right now
Yeah,
with
yeah.
this.
I think that's pretty good.
So until we get, so this would be to Hot Toys. Please give not just the world, but mainly Alex
Mainly me.
a 6 scale Biggs Darklighter. I
That's
mean, they
I
have the suit. Why not just stick the head on it?
Yeah, it's not going to be that hard. A different helmet, a different head.
I mean,
But
there must be custom Biggs heads out there. You could get the 6 scale and swap it out, right?
that's why I love Biggs Darklighter as like kind of a favorite character, is because he pops up just enough and he gets just enough merchandise that it feels like it's worth it.
So it's a manageable collection.
Well, yeah, there's that.
You also
That's
don't get
also great.
overwhelmed with Biggs.
Yeah, it's easy. Like you can spend one afternoon on Amazon and eBay and you'll have everything Biggs that's ever been made. But it's also just he pops up just enough in a book or a comic. He gets just enough mentions that I can get excited about it, and there won't be a huge drought where like Veer's Watch. I feel like General Veers doesn't pop up quite as much, but
he did get a figure in the
yeah,
Black Series before Biggs.
yeah. Well, I mean, Veers Watch needed that, and that's okay.
So someone that has one, we got to give him a win.
Uh-huh.
We really got to give him a win.
Yeah.
Just a time, and then the story came out shortly after that, didn't it? The certain point of view.
Yeah,
confirming that Veers made it out.
Yes, correct.
Has there been an update? Where is he in canon now? Did he make it past the end of the Empire?
I don't think we know. The last we know is that he survived the Battle of Hoth.
So Veers Watch is still ongoing.
Yeah, and that was true in Legends as well. And I think the Battle of Hoth, from a certain point of view story, hinted that he might be paralyzed, which also lines up with stuff that happened in Legends. I think we see him in Dark Empire and he's in a wheelchair or like a hover chair. So I do think they were maybe hinting towards that. But he stayed a part of the Empire in Legends. So
he'll be in Ahsoka with Thrawn.
Maybe.
As his right-hand man.
Uh-huh.
So what is your number 3 choice?
Number 3, I'm going to go with this standard stormtrooper. Just kidding. It's Han Solo in disguise.
Oh, now that's the mail away, right?
Yeah. So I tried to pick things that had stories to them, and this was one that I remember. It was Kellogg's saving cereal box tops. I have another one. It was Force Ghost Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I think that was Lay's chips that I had to save up and send away for. But that one doesn't, like, he's not posable. He's just a see-through, like, stuck.
He's just a figurine.
Yeah. So this one's way better. It has the removable helmet. I just remember when this one came in the mail and feeling like I accomplished something.
In that
I
little
ate cereal.
cardboard mailer.
Yeah.
You ate so many Fruit Loops.
Uh-huh. I honestly think it was only 3 or so proofs of purchase. It wasn't that bad. But also I miss those days. I got a lot of cool prizes by mailing away cereal, like computer games occasionally. I don't know. I miss that. Bring it back.
Or just having things that weren't digital in a box.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, here's a download code. I don't want a download code. I want some piece of plastic stuck in my box of food.
Or Chex Quest was like the coolest thing in second grade.
A lightsaber spoon. Do you have the lightsaber? Yeah. That was from that same era, was the lightsaber spoons.
Yeah, I miss that stuff.
Bring it back, everyone. So what do we need? We need 6-scale Biggs.
Yeah.
We need to bring back stuff in cereal boxes, or at least mail-aways. I'm trying to think now when the last time I did a mail-away was for proof of purchases.
I don't think I've done it since like this era. I definitely did the Obi-Wan one after this. And I think that might be it. I know I mailed away for a computer game at some point, but I think that was before the action figures.
Oh, I remember what the last one I recall doing was the Boba Fett, the rocket firing Boba Fett.
Oh,
they did in 2010. 2011. That was the last one that I did, and they've never left the mailers. They're sitting in the box right now.
See, yeah, that's the thing that all of my stuff. I almost showed off one of the. I take everything out of the package, or I used to as a kid. Like, I got these toys and I wanted to play with them. And I do remember my parents being like, the old ones are worth a lot if you leave them in the thing. And then I just rip it open and start playing with them. So
right in their face, just rip it open right in their face. Like, no, I'm going to be a child, not an investment.
Yeah, they said the same thing about Beanie Babies too. I had a few Beanie Babies and I cut the tags off all of them.
Well, now it just sounds like spite.
No, I just like I was more like, these are my toys and I'm never getting rid of them. So
you still have your Beanie Babies?
Yeah, I think I do. Molly does as well, but hers have all the tags and even have protectors on them. But Beanie Babies, to be fair, it was like you could play with them and just be delicate with the tags. That was really all you had to do.
Right.
Because I think they came out of a box anyway. But yeah, now I can show off that this is, or I'll save some for honorable mentions, but now I feel like it's just laziness on my part. Like I don't really have any desire to keep the second sister in her box. It's more just like, I don't know, it stands here on my desk. It's easier to position that she'll
She's
fall
posed
over
in there.
otherwise.
It's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
So
Well, now I'm
now
challenging. Now you have to take at least the second sister out.
I probably will. Like, I think I would enjoy, honestly, taking some of these newer characters that I've gotten out of the box.
How many are still in the box right now that you've gotten? Because you're not a big collector right now. Like figures you've tended to shy away from in recent times, right?
Yeah, I was a big collector when I was a kid. I feel like about when Fellowship of the Ring came out, I remember having a couple action figures from Lord of the Rings, and I kind of stopped. I was 14 at that point, and I think I fell away from collecting so much. And now I focus on characters. So if there's a character that I love that is getting an action figure, I will definitely get it. I have all of the Fallen Order Black Series because I loved that game, and I was like, yes, give me all that merch. I'm really upset because I was supposed to get the Black Series Cobb Vamp today. Amazon yesterday was like, it's going to be there tomorrow by 10 p.m. And I was like, maybe I'll get to open. I would have opened the box. I would have opened the Black Series box. I would have taken him out of the package on
Would
this
it have
video.
been one of the top 5 if he had arrived today?
I guess I'd have to look at him first. But I definitely would
To
have
make sure the
shown him.
Olifantinus was
Yeah.
properly captured.
We'll see how sexy he is as a as a toy. But then this morning it was like, you're having a delay on your order, and a delay of like a month. And I'm like, how did you not know this until right now? Come on, Amazon. You gave me hope.
No.
I ordered it like a year ago. It's absurd.
I mean, it's so Cobb Vanth though to keep you waiting.
It'll be worth it. It'll all be worth it. But yeah,
you'll be getting it in time for Andor.
We'll see. I hope so.
If you get it in time for Andor, he needs to sit in the background of every shot of your live stream recaps afterwards.
I say I need to start a Cobb Vanth shrine, but I don't know that there is one yet. Hopefully they make a figure of him in just the red shirt. Then they'll make a figure of him from season 3 after he's healed or whatever.
Right. With his new attachments.
Yeah. There's just not enough Cobb Vanth stuff right now.
No, you just had the cardboard standout and
which I do
Pop?
have.
Funko, because Funko puts stuff out overnight. I don't know how Funko, other than the fact that they're using the same, how they get stuff out so fast.
Molly and I each bought one each of. It was just like a lack of communication. So we have 2 of him in the helmet and 2 of him out of the helmet.
So why are they still in the boxes? That's your Cobb Vanth.
That's a good question. Again, I think it's just laziness. And
maybe you just need to do an unboxing stream.
Yeah.
In the near future.
Honestly, yeah, it's not unboxing one thing, it's unboxing just all the stuff that I've collected and wanted to open and just haven't done it yet.
So your number 2. Because now it gets down to difficult decision.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I knew what number 1 was.
Was it harder having to rank them at the start than it is now?
I think so. I think so. I knew what number 1 was from the get-go. I'm gonna go. This is Power of the Force Yoda from 95 or 96. This is one of the ones I mentioned that was hard to find. I remember it was Yoda, Luke Skywalker on Tatooine, the one that looks like He-Man, Leia, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Lando Calrissian. Those were the 5 that I just had the most difficult time finding. And I know where I was when we found this figure. I remember it was $20 instead of $5 because they knew that it was hard to find. And
So
I
this was an
remember,
aftermarket. You didn't find this at a Kmart or Walmart or
no, I found this at Odin's comic shop, and it was basically around the corner from the Walmart where I found most of my figures. Uh, so yeah, they purchased it, marked it up, and I was like, "Mom, they have it," and I convinced her that it was worth her time and energy to, and I paid for it, but she was trying to talk me out of paying 4 times, and I was like, would you rather continue to hunt for this figure at all the Toys R Us's and
think of the
Walmarts and
gas I'm
Targets?
saving you.
Exactly. I was like, this is the one.
And I'll
So I
be forever
paid,
satisfied for the rest of my life. I'll
never
never
asked for
want
anything
again.
else. So I paid 4 times as much, $20 for this little Yoda, and still have him, still love him. He came with the little blue backpack that you could put on Dagobah Luke. Or yeah, he came with the backpack, I think.
Yes, he came with the backpack.
I couldn't remember if it was Yoda or Luke
The
that came with
original
that.
version didn't. The Kenner
Okay.
80s version did not come with the backpack. I don't think we ever got a backpack from the Kenner line because we never got a Dagobah Luke either in the original line. We got a Bespin Luke, but not a
That Bespin
Dagobah Luke.
Luke is not in my list. I did consider him because that was one that I was excited that the hand came off, but it was also one that was difficult to find. I think that was in the second wave when it came out.
Yeah, that would have been the Lando wave, right? When they started doing more of the Empire releases.
Oh, maybe that it was after that because I know Lando was around. I remember searching far and wide for Lando Calrissian and having trouble with that. So
Did
I
you
don't remember
eventually
when the
find
waves
Lando?
were. Oh yeah, we got all of them. The first handful of waves, I got everything. I think when they released like Bespin Luke, Yavin Ceremony Metal Luke, some of that wave, I think I stopped being completionist. But the early waves, I definitely got everything.
Now, were you still collecting and still excited when the Phantom Menace figures hit? Were you
Not
part of
as
that
much.
initial excitement?
Yeah, because I have Qui-Gon, Darth Maul, Obi-Wan. I remembered just how excited I was that they had opposable elbows. They had more joints. And I was like so psyched that I could make Obi-Wan hold his lightsaber with 2 hands.
You
Uh
can actually pose them now.
yeah. So I did collect some of those figures, but not all of them. And I remember they came with like that was still when they were doing those voice chips.
The Comtech.
Yeah, the Comtech. So I remember like Anakin's lines, just hearing "Yippee" and "Wizard" and
But that
all
was
that
one of the
stuff.
things you don't really see nowadays because all the figures are coming out after the movie hits or after the
Yeah,
show hits. Then we saw all these characters. We had no idea who these characters were or what was going to happen.
I feel like spoiler culture or fear of spoilers has really uh changed how merchandising is made. But I remember my best friend's cousin straight up spoiled the Phantom Menace for me and said that Qui-Gon gets stabbed. And I remember not being upset about that. Like he had seen it the night before. His parents let him do that on a school night, and my friend and I had to wait until Friday night to go see it. And we had a major death spoiled, and I was just like, don't care. Still excited to see it. So yeah, I feel like we were allowed to just get all of these action figures and stuff so early, and now they don't really do it. But they haven't been pushing action figures much at all, I feel like, in the past few years.
No, they very much seem like an afterthought compared to what they were before.
It's so weird to me that I'm going to get a Cobb Vanth figure like 2 years, maybe, after
Yeah,
he was introduced.
after he's had time to come back.
Uh-huh.
Whereas originally there would have been, who's this Cobb Vanth? What is this? What is he from? Oh,
Yeah.
he looks cool. He's got a scarf.
And to be fair, like I would have been probably a little bummed if they released the Cobb Vanth action figure before we saw him in The Mandalorian. But I
Yeah,
do
has
wish
your
they
view
could.
of spoilers changed? Because you said
Yeah,
you're very sort of nonchalant and nonplussed about
yeah. At the
Phantom
time, I didn't
Menace.
care. When I was 12, I guess it didn't bother me. Now I'm definitely like, no, I want to see it on screen. I want to have that moment of surprise and shock.
What
Uh,
was the last thing that was spoiled for you that you really disappointed that you knew ahead of time?
uh, Darth Maul being in Solo. That was, I felt like I was so careful, and I saw the spoiler on online, but I don't remember where. But it wasn't on like a Star Wars subreddit or on Twitter or on my YouTube comments or anything. I just saw it randomly, and it was kind of something that I was like, that sounds like BS. I'm gonna put that out of my mind. But then when Kira started to like boot up the hologram and stuff, I was like, this is Maul. And then the second you hear the voice, I was like, this is definitely Maul. So I still didn't have it super spoiled for me, but even that just made me kind of go like, nah, internet.
So you're very, very careful now about. Now, is it mainly Star Wars? Like, or do you care about being spoiled about Marvel movies or?
Yeah, I do. Like I try to stay off of Twitter before I see Ms. Marvel as it's on right now, or Stranger Things just wrapped up, and I was like, all right, I couldn't watch it until Sunday, and it came out on Friday, so I was like, I'm just gonna try to stay off the internet until I can watch it for myself.
And stay away from everyone texting you and
Well, they know
sending you
better.
memes.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's been spoiled by a meme that someone's texted you?
I don't think so. I definitely have had people text me. I'll wake up early on a Wednesday because all of our West Coast friends get to watch it at midnight, and I'm like, I'm not going to stay up until 3 a.m. to watch The Mandalorian or whatever. And so when I look at my phone and I check to see what time it is, and it's just like wall of text, I'm like, put it back down. Like, Molly, get up. We got to go watch this right now before someone ruins this.
See, Joseph Scrimshaw can't do that because everyone's going to text him condolences on whatever beloved character
Uh-huh.
has passed to him immediately after they see it.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
I definitely did that.
we
But
had
I
to.
but I know he watches it before I do.
You know, he like I, all right, wait up, might as well get it out of the way. Then you can rest easy. How
Well,
you were
see,
able to
like
sleep so
me,
soundly, knowing that that's gone on.
then it's not resting easy. I have to wait up until 3 a.m., watch it, then it's 4 a.m. at least. And then I've got to write a video, record a video, edit a video. Like I'm not gonna go to sleep after that. I'm gonna stay up and do the video. So it's better if I just get up at 6 and do it all in one fell swoop.
Knowing that it's going to be a marathon day for you
Yeah.
with the after show.
Yeah.
So you're number one.
Number one, it's been almost all Power of the Force, but this is the first figure I ever bought. Luke Skywalker in the flight suit. I've always loved this look. I love the orange. I love the helmets. Just I saw this figure. Basically, this might have been right after we saw Star Wars. Even I don't really remember how it all went down, but I do remember I went to Walmart with $15, and I was like, I'm buying some action figures, some Star Wars action figures. Went straight to the toy aisle, grabbed this one first. I feel like I debated on a whatever else was available, and I settled on Boba Fett and C3PO. I know those were my first three, but this was the one that I was like, no question, getting this figure.
So did you already established your love affair of the Star Wars pilots at that point?
I guess so. I mean, not in a like this is my entire identity kind of way, but
Because you hadn't had you read any of the books prior to that?
no. This was just like I loved the trench run. I loved all of the pilots and X-wings and all of that. So I knew that this was the second I knew this figure existed, because I didn't even know what was out there. My parents were just like, you can get some toys. And I was like, well, let's go. What are we waiting for?
So that was eye opening for you.
Yeah, to
So
just see
when
a
did you
wall.
start loving Bigs then? Do you
Uh,
recall when that started?
Kinda. Like I always liked I liked Biggs from when we saw images of the deleted scenes. It wasn't until I knew that deleted scenes existed, and that was even a brand new concept to me. I was like, why would you shoot something and not put it in the movie? That's ludicrous. and you're able to read about him. So before I even got into the novels and stuff, I think I was looking through like the Star Wars Encyclopedia, which was basically just the Wikipedia of its time that had like a lot of little entries where I'd read something about someone, and within that entry, I'd be like, "Well, what's that?" And I'd look that up, and it was just a rabbit hole on the Star Wars Encyclopedia. But eventually, I found out about you know the this scene, and I was like, I have to know more about this. And I put it together that, oh, that's Biggs from the trench run. And he had a whole scene with Luke that wasn't in the movie.
And here's the
So
single still image that they've ever released of that.
yeah. And I found out that you could find the deleted scene on a CD-ROM called Behind the Magic or Making Magic, something like that. So I eventually got to see the deleted scene and was kind of underwhelmed. And I was like, okay, now I understand. But so Biggs has always been part of me learning about how movies are made in some way. So I always have had this fascination with the character before I understood the concept of deleted scenes and how movie making changes over the course of production. Uh, then in 2008, I think, I got a beagle, and he was my first dog that was like my dog. And I named him Biggs because I just thought that's a great name for a dog. And it kind of spawned off of that, just being like, this is Biggs, my dog. And I named him after the best Star Wars character of all time.
Now this is
Like,
my thing.
exactly. It all kind of started, that side of it, I would say, started a bit as a joke, but it became genuine. So
That's what happens with jokes when they linger long enough.
it is. I mean, I've talked to Veers Watch, and he has said the same thing, that he's always he's liked Veers, as just thought that it's like, hey, there's like one competent Imperial, and why isn't he in more stuff? And then it would be fun to have this Twitter account, and then it just grows and grows to the point where he's like, no, Veers is the best, and here's why. So I always have had an affinity for Biggs, a fascination with him, but
And
naming my
everyone
dog,
loves Luke. Everyone loves Han.
exactly, and Wedge, like Wedge, I love Wedge too, but like I said, he gets all the attention. He has his own Black
Even
Series figure.
Porkins was more well
Yeah,
known than Biggs.
Wedge
Porkins got a
Wedge
figure
gets
before Biggs.
Wedge gets the Black Series helmet. Where is Biggs's helmet? I'm waiting for that to come out as well.
So if he was still around, Biggs would have been the Wedge.
Yeah, for sure. If Wedge hadn't punched out, which Luke told him to do, but
If he hadn't cut
whatever.
and run,
Uh-huh.
if he like, no, we need to stick together. We're
Exactly.
not leaving.
Yeah, Biggs didn't leave.
We're with you.
Biggs saved the galaxy.
And that's why he deserves a 6-scale figure from Hot Toys.
Yeah, that's what this whole podcast has been about. It's just a plea.
What would you, if they did a 6-scale figure of Biggs? A, X-Wing or Cape outfit, if you had to choose.
Mm.
And B, what accessories should he come with?
Mm. I think I'd have to go X-Wing outfit, but he already has so many figures like that. I do love the Cape outfit, and I feel like then you can give him a cup from Tashi Station, macro binoculars or something, stuff that he uses in that scene, whereas otherwise it's just standard Rebel outfit, helmet, blaster. But I still think you gotta go. If I could only choose one, I'd still want him in the orange with the yellow checkerboard.
We need to find a custom head, a Biggs head for the
And
X-Wing Luke outfit.
okay, and he could come with a mustache comb.
Maybe that's what the power converters were.
Mm.
Maybe that's the power of the mustache comb that he had. And Luke had been trying, and that was the secret to Biggs's glorious mustache.
Or he could come with his X-Wing or his astromech unit, and one of its attachments could be a little mustache comb. So
Why there aren't a mustache comb company doing a Biggs endorsement
yeah,
right now? they're looking for a Star Wars tie-in, he's your go-to for the mustaches of Star Wars. Who's your
Agree.
runner-up? Who's your runner-up on second best mustache in Star Wars?
I'll go with Antok Merrick. I've called him the blonde Biggs of Star Wars because I mean he's a hero. He's an X-wing pilot, sick mustache, dies saving the galaxy. So to me, they're almost hand in hand.
So
and he's another one who's I ordered his figure. Oh wait, no, that one's here. That one actually came. I forgot. I have Blue Leader.
Let's see Antok Merrick because no one else has gotten him. So
Hilarious.
This is the Target exclusive.
Yeah.
Black Series Antok Merrick. Mine is still on pre-order.
Right? This one like just came. It's
now I have hope.
That...
So you didn't get the X-wing, the Blue Squadron X-wing that they came out with the smaller figure of him, then, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I
don't think so. I did not.
Do you have an X-wing? Do you have a?
I have
X-wing?
Several Lego X-wings, but I don't. I never had the power of the Force X-wing either. So I have a couple of the Micro Machines.
Seems like a grievous oversight for you not to have a classic X-wing.
I could probably find one.
Well, that's my challenge to you, is find one. So, do you have any honorable mentions that didn't quite make the 5, or things you want to? Because you're also a huge Max Rebo fan, too.
Yeah, I mean,
but he fits into that big sort of niche area of.
I do have him sitting right next to me. I like this figure, but it's not canonically accurate anymore with the diaper and the arms.
We'll compare.
Yeah.
Original Max Rebo. I think the organ is exactly the same, though. They just reuse that.
Yeah, it looks very similar.
Just a better paint job on yours. But yep. Like they didn't even paint the diaper in the original.
It definitely seems like they went, should we give him legs? Like, what's he look like under there? I don't know. Give him a diaper.
But at least they carried through the little pads to the feet. Like they extrapolated nicely.
I do like that you can press the keys on the keyboard.
Oh yeah.
It's a nice figure. It's a fine figure. It came with Droopy McCool and Cy Snoodles. Really neat. But Max is more even jokier, I guess, than Biggs. I love him because he's a piano player and I play piano. But that's kind of it.
So he would make it onto your super team, right? If you're putting together a super team of characters.
Yeah. Especially the version of him that's in Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga with like the grizzled voice. He seems like he'd be good to get your team into back alleys, hives of scum and villainy. I think he'd be able to talk his way in. He has access as a showman. I think he'd be perfect.
And canonically, Cobb Vanth could have crossed over with Biggs at some point, right?
I think that's possible, sure.
So I think that's the story you're writing.
Biggs, Max Rebo, and Cobb Vanth all together.
All at Tashi Station. Max is playing a gig. They're having drinks.
I've also got another one that I haven't taken out of the package, but I do think this is a awesome looking figure. Good old Cal Kestis with his trusty BD1.
The original release of that before they did the recolored poncho release.
I have that one too, and I like that it comes with the boggling. I think that's a nice touch. But I do prefer the original colors, the original lightsaber. I like the original release more.
Yeah, no, I wish I had that original release, but I agree. I think it just has a better look to it than the other one. So then the other question for you is, if you had your druthers and could ask them to produce anything, any character, what would you want a figure of?
Hmm. So I'm not gonna say Biggs. I have plenty of Biggs figures, and we're basically out of looks. Like they even did. I have his Imperial TIE Fighter figure, which
Which I think was
is
also
so
from that
cool.
30th anniversary line, wasn't it?
I think it came in a, was it? It might
Or
have
was it
been.
a 3-pack? Was it
I
like
want
a
to say it
jet?
was a 3-pack, but I can't remember what came with him. I probably pulled him out and threw the others in the trash. I didn't. I do think it was a 3-pack of some sort. Um, Haja is jumping out at me right now. I really liked him in Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I think I'd probably go with more characters from Fallen Order. I just love that game.
So
So
who would you pick?
Seer, I think. Grease would be fun too. Oh no, Marin. I'd go Marin.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was waiting waiting for you.
No, it's Marin. So I'm just like, I just went through all the characters, but Marin was uh someone who, when she joined the team, I was just like pumping my fist, excited about it.
Who hopefully we'll see in the sequel.
Yeah,
Since
fingers
they
crossed.
didn't they already say there were going to be multiple playable characters?
That was,
Or that's still a
now I
rumor?
can't remember if that was a rumor or if that was in the press release. I don't recall.
Um, but now this is the point where I get to share one of my top 5, of which we're now to my number 2 choice. Uh, so technically this was a playset, but
Hmm.
this is a character. This is a figure. He had lines.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it is the original release of Jabba the Hutt from, I think he would have come out in maybe the beginning of 84. Maybe he was out in 83 for the release. I remember buying him when my family was stationed in California. Got him as a gift. But just, this is towards the end of the Kenner line when they really started nailing sculpts and and things actually looking like they should.
Just we can compare.
Oh
I
yeah.
have the 97 version where he, come on, where he was more
And really the problem with that figure primarily is just how deep set the eyes are. If those eyes were a little bit closer to the surface on that 90s release, it wouldn't look as weird.
it does look like the special edition
It
though,
Yeah,
which the 83 one looks better.
but he's got he's got the hookah. He's he's got the action opening dungeon. That's There it is. With both you can dump a figure in there. It's got the collar
Oh,
for never released a Leia or an Ula.
oh
So
really?
yeah, the original packaging had Luke in the collar
Okay.
on it. So yeah, well, any port in a storm, right? You're not going to release it. But yeah, I mean, the bowl is great. And the other thing it came with, it's just sitting on my desk, is the
Oh yeah, of
Salacious
course.
Crumb. So a great character, great set. I mean, to get this as a kid, even though he terrified me as a child, I remember seeing Return of the Jedi in the theater, and it traumatized me for a couple of years after that because the scene when Leia is thawing out Han and gets Han out, and then suddenly Jabba and his court appear from behind the curtain. From that point forward, for at least a couple of years, whenever I was using a restroom, I would move the shower curtain aside to make sure Jabba was not behind it.
Just specifically Jabba. You weren't worried about.
Specifically, well, I mean, just any, but Jabba was the main threat. Just making sure there was no Jabba in the shower behind the curtain.
He would never fit Ken.
Listen, I already was making a lot of mental leaps to get to the point of looking. The fact that he couldn't fit back there was, how did I know? It was hidden. You don't know what could be behind there. It could be a portal to Jabba. I didn't know at the time, but it lingered. Of all the things in that movie that could have traumatized me, that was the thing that did. So Jabba forever holds a weird and special place in my heart. So that is why that figure is on the list. And I have a few honorable mentions of things I've picked up recently that I wanted to share with you, get your thoughts. Some canon stuff and just some weird stuff. I did some TikToks recently that people might have seen. The battle damage
Hmm.
Darth Vader on Mustafar, which is a weird idea.
Is that the one that Scrimshaw just got
Yes, he got it from
at Celebration?
Celebration.
Yeah.
So you can see on the back, you have the ability to have them both ways. Or as I called him in the TikTok, a Sith s'more. But I got this off of eBay and didn't realize till I got it that it was missing.
I was about to say, where are the rest of his limbs?
Yeah. So the irony of buying it and having an incomplete Anakin, I feel like this is how Palpatine must have felt.
Yeah.
I was sold a bill of goods. This is what I got. But again, Revenge of the Sith is a weird movie to market to kids.
Oh, yeah.
And so I can that was probably the last film that they really leaned into marketing for kids, and for the collector stuff really took hold.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it seems like a lot of modern lines are really geared towards, oh, this is a collector's market.
Yeah.
Kids not walking into Target going, I want an Anton Merrick.
Yeah.
Rebuild Darth
cool.
Vader with his weird wonky eyes.
But the table's cool.
But the table
like
is
the table.
cool. Yeah. Which you can also get the companion medical droid separately.
Oh, yeah.
Just so he has something to act out his feelings on. But yeah, as far again, just let's do the Frankenstein table. Let's do that figure. Celebratory. This is a little bit past, but I found this in a box that I'd had since it came out. The Father's Day set, which is a weird thing to celebrate.
Yeah.
A weird way to celebrate it. So you could fold it up and gift your father a complicated relationship.
Now, does Luke's hand come off? Like the classic Bespin?
I haven't taken him out, but I would bet this is probably the exact same release.
Not the one that I had.
No. So this would have been probably the early 2000s version of this figure, which did have removable hand as well.
Okay.
So I would assume if I opened it up that he probably would pop right off.
That just makes the celebration for Father's Day even funnier. Like, let's celebrate the time Dad cut my hand off.
Yeah. No. Again, this thing celebrates and marks on a lot of different awkward things. We got two more quick ones because I had to.
Oh yeah, Lightning Vader.
The Lightning Vader that looks like a Mardi Gras mask on him. Not a really. It's a hard effect to do in figure form, but it does lead to probably my favorite recent figure, because I was thinking that you talked about doing the mail away of the Force Ghost Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I remembered having the original Anakin Skywalker figure from the original line. I was like, did they ever do a Force Ghost Anakin from the special editions, which would have been Hayden Christensen? And they did.
Okay.
From the 30th anniversary line.
What? That is not what I thought. He looks like Snoke.
Yes, because they didn't go for blue as like the overall tone, and it's this weird glitter sheer.
What's the white down there?
That's the bottom of his robes.
Oh, okay, I see. It looks like a plastic chair.
Yes, it's Anakin Squatty Potty.
Yeah. That's bizarre.
It is. I mean, they made a lot of choices. They did a much better job with the you can't really see it's back there. The Force Ghost figures they did in the Black Series of Yoda and Obi-Wan, where it's actually blue, but like nothing about that cries out Force Ghost.
No.
To me.
That is so bizarre.
And he's got like this super glitter face.
Robe. Yeah.
But leave it to that wonderful 30th anniversary line. which also had the Han Solo and torture rack.
which everyone needs. Oh, I do like Lando and Han Solo's clothes.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, again, this is a great. If anyone can find these, it's got the
And I kind of
uh
want the concept art, both of those on there. I love the concept art stuff.
and the litter R2D2.
Hmm.
So yeah, highly recommended. And this also has the General McQuarrie figure,
Oh, nice.
which is a great one to get. So this has been Force 5. This is I'm really happy that you're able to come on
Thanks.
and dig through your stuff.
I wanted to share one more thing with
Yeah,
you
please.
because you and I have kind of similar stories. When I
Jabba
was
also
collecting,
terrified you.
yeah, when I was making my collection, I kind of grew out of it at the age of 14 or 15, and at that point, we had some friends of the family, and their sons were they were 7 or 8, and they were really getting into Star Wars as the prequels were coming out. And so I gave all of my toys to them. And basically 10 years after that, started to regret it. I'm glad they enjoyed them as much as they did. But a few years ago, maybe 5 years at this point, my family, my parents went to them and they were like, "Are you still using those? Do you have them? Are they into Star Wars anymore?" And they were like, "Nope, they're just in the attic." And my mom was like, "Can we have those back?" And so for my birthday, I think it was my 30th birthday, they got all of my action figures back and
Oh,
presented them to me in the middle of a restaurant with like this giant
just
tub
empty
of
the
stuff.
tub.
Yeah. But yeah, I have most of my figures back. Some of them got lost along the way. And I also gained a few. There were some GI Joes in there. There were definitely some figures that I was like, I never bought
So
this.
you're telling me there's still hope.
Yeah,
There's still hope that
there's still
maybe
hope.
my figures are out there somewhere. Still in the giant linen bag
Uh-huh.
that they were in at the time. I hope my cousins are watching this right now. Please look. I know you don't care. You didn't care then. You loved Ninja Turtles then.
I was big into Ninja Turtles as well.
That was frankly a harder thing to collect. Seems there were much more Ninja Turtle figures and variations than there were
Yeah.
of Star Wars, and more expensive and harder to store.
Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, Star Wars. I think those were my big action figure collections back in the day.
And those are all gone. Were they? Did they go to the same kids? Did you give them all away to the same?
No, just the Star Wars stuff. Turtles might still be up there. I don't remember. I'll have to ask.
Well, if someone wants to get you on their turtle collecting show, they can have you look around. So, was it a good experience to go? When was the last time you had dug through your figures?
Um, really dug through them probably when I got them all back. Like, well, we got them all back and we put them up all on a bookshelf for a while, but one strong pound on the ground and they would all topple over. So I think we put them back into the box when we moved. That was 3 years ago. So I guess it was about 3 years ago that I like had them all in my hands again. I still go into the tub every once in a while to get them out as props for videos or something. But
I mean, now
yeah,
that you've gone through them and had to do this ranking, are there any that are going to stay out of the box?
um, well, this one, the Biggs one, is always out. He's part of the shrine. I'll say Molly a few years back got me the Black Series version of this, so I have
You've
that.
upgraded him.
Yeah, that version of Luke is out. I don't know. I hadn't thought that far ahead, but
I mean,
maybe.
maybe. I mean, it seems really that Yoda deserves to live outside, and
Yeah,
after you liberated it
yeah,
from
get some
a
free
very,
air.
a very, very predatory collectible shop who was doing that much of a markup on a still fresh figure.
Hmm.
But that was the speculator era, so I can certainly see a shop. Is that shop still around?
No,
Good
they closed.
riddance. Good riddance. No shop should be that predatory on figures like that. They probably were the ones that cleaned off the pegs, so you couldn't find
Yeah,
that
I
Yoda
had
figure.
no ill will towards them as an 8-year-old. but I didn't know better.
but I do now. Uh, so anything that's coming up for you? I mean, everyone should, without a doubt, check out Star Wars Explained. I can't imagine anyone who's watching this hasn't subscribed, doesn't have a bookmark, isn't watching all the videos, because you are an absolutely indispensable resource when it comes to navigating the ever-growing canon of Star Wars.
Well, thank you.
Is there anything else that you would like to plug or excited about?
Not right now. We're kind of hanging out until Andor. I mean, obviously we're making videos and stuff, but we're trying to enjoy the chill times.
Before the
Because
overlap of Andor and Bad Batch?
yes. So we're still putting out daily videos, but we're trying to just enjoy ourselves and relax a little bit because we know it's going to be a crazy 16 weeks.
Oh, there's stuff they haven't even announced that you don't even know yet that
Oh
they're
yeah,
going to
it's only
add
going to get
Marvel
worse.
shows that you
Worse.
luckily don't have to do anything, but you would actually like to watch.
Uh-huh.
So basically, content is just coming at you in a torrent
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Now where should everyone find you if they don't know where to find you?
Star Wars Explained on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. I think those are all our big ones.
Well, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for having
sharing
me.
your figures. And I hope that Yoda has a life of freedom on a shelf.
I'll put them right there next to Cal Kestis's lightsaber.
Well, I look forward to your unboxing video. And thank you everyone for watching. And if you would like to support the show, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/Ken Plume. And you can follow me at Ken Plume on a whole bunch of different stuff. You can find all the information below. But thank you for watching and stay tuned for more Force 5. I still haven't figured out a great way to end this. So I'm just going to say goodbye. Bye.